When BMW bought the Rover car company, they kept the Land Rover Range Rover trucks for a few years and then sold them on to Ford. What they didn't sell was the Mini name. They figured that was a brand worth keeping, and they were right. In 2001, the new Mini Cooper arrived, made by BMW, and it's been a huge hit around the world. In 2007, BMW redid the Mini with slightly different dimensions on the outside and a new engine. In 2008, BMW came up with this, the Mini Cooper Clubman, a bigger Mini, trying to appeal to a different market. The Clubman is a tip of the hat to the original Mini Traveler from the mid-60s. The Traveler was a utility vehicle in its day for deliveries, tradespeople, and families looking for a bit more space than the Mini Coupe. The same is true today. This Clubman is bigger than the Coupe and the convertible, and they're hoping that it's going to appeal to buyers that initially thought that Mini is just too small. This new Mini Clubman is 24 centimeters longer in overall length than the Coupe, which gives it more space on the inside for passengers, more cargo capacity, and a longer wheelbase. Well, the back of the Clubman has these two cute little windshield wipers because it doesn't have a conventional hatch that pops out. It has two doors that swing out, which are very retro and very cool. Now, the cargo space behind the rear seats is bigger than the regular coupe. It's still not large. It has extra cargo space underneath the floor, but it's when you fold down the back seats that you get a lot more cargo space, 37% more than the regular coupe. The driver's side of the car looks long due to the additional 8 centimeters added to the wheelbase. It's from the passenger side that you notice something's different. Just like a pickup truck or Mazda RX-8, there's a partial door behind the front door, which allows easier access to the back seat. Mini calls this door the club door, and it can only be opened by the front passenger once the front door is open. Not handy for kids. Speaking of kids, the back seat now has more legroom, though it's still a space only kids or adults on short trips would enjoy. Now up front, it's a totally different story. There's tons of legroom and massive amounts of headroom, but the original Mini had lots of headspace on the inside. Now this is the Mark II version that's been made by BMW, and the interior materials are much better than that first attempt by them. But still dominating the middle of the dash is this oversized speedo with the radio incorporated. There's lots of toggles, switches, and rotary dials. At first seem a little bit overwhelming and foreign, but after a while the driver does adapt. We're not crazy about the way the fan and the heat switches, you have to move them up and down. We prefer a side-to-side rotary switch. Couple of ways to describe this car: busy, trying too hard, but you know what? You're either going to love it or hate it. One thing about owning a Mini is the buyer can really make an individual statement with all kinds of different body configurations. Between the body color, roof color, and hood accents, the Mini Clubman can be as unique as each buyer. There are literally dozens of combinations. The Mark II Minis are powered by a new 4-cylinder engine co-produced and developed with Peugeot. The 1.6-liter 4-cylinder engine has 118 horsepower and 114 pound-feet of torque. BMW claims that the Clubman can make it to 100 kilometers an hour in just 9.6 seconds. Not lightning quick, but remember, this little engine is thrifty on fuel, enough so that it qualifies for the federal eco rebate of $1,000 when equipped with a manual transmission. There is also a Cooper S version with a turbo attached to the same engine. This produces significantly more horsepower at 172. Now that's more my speed. Both versions can be equipped with the easy-to-use 6-speed manual transmission. A great feature is the hill hold that prevents the Clubman from rolling back on hills when the brakes are released. The automatic is also a 6-speed unit. Now, this little Clubman is a fun car to drive aggressively, and that really is the only way to wring out the most performance from this quite small 1.6-liter engine. You see, there isn't a lot of torque at low RPMs. It's only when you get the revs up that it starts to build some power, so you really have to keep your foot into it to get the most out of it. Not the most relaxing vehicle to drive around town, but if you're somebody that likes to drive aggressively, this car's fun. Handling is what you would expect from a car with such a low center of gravity, small dimensions, and a wide stance. It carves through the corners with the same glee that the coupe does. It's over uneven pavement that we found the ride to be really choppy. The front suspension really tends to bounce around. Now, we already mentioned that in order to get the most performance out of this car, you really have to put your foot into the throttle. But when you do that, that creates what's called torque steer. The front steering wheel tugs in your hands because it's a front-wheel drive car. And the other thing is, this car tram lines down the road. It catches all the ruts, and it really is quite a handful on uneven pavement. So if you're looking for a laid-back, relaxed ride, you might want to pass on this car. The Clubman starts around $26,000. That's one of the problems. If you're wanting a compact car with utility, you can get one for a lot less money than this. If you want the Cooper S version, it starts over $31,000, so these vehicles are not cheap. They're trying to appeal to somebody that wants a bigger Mini, but people who buy Minis already know they're small cars. You know who's going to buy this? A company, and they're going to string their logo down the side of it as mobile advertising. The Clubman might be trying to appeal to more people, but might not be appealing to anybody. Time will tell.
For complete specs, go to our website at drivingtelevision.com.